These are the weekends you wait for, man. This is what we want as sports fans. I promise. For as long as I'm watching the Cleveland sports scene, I will never take the playoffs for granted. Now, I guess we kind of could have when LeBron was here. That was like, the Hawks first round, boring. But I promise you that I will never wish away the playoffs. I've had too many years of not having the playoffs that I don't get excited about what starts tomorrow over there at Progressive Field. We're never going to lose that, folks. We'll never not understand how important that is. Big game for the Browns on Sunday, but what a weekend it's going to be. I'm feeling so good about the Guardians tomorrow. We're going to get it. We're going to be alive. Downtown's going to be flying, and the Guards going to be on their way, potentially, to winning a World Series. Certainly on the opposite end of the spectrum, the Browns on Sunday in another type of must-win game. We'll get to that. We'll take a look at the Commanders today. We'll do our Friday report card. We'll get ready for that. Our NFL picks. Damn you, Kirk Cousins. I blame the referees for that, but we'll get to Thursday Night Football as well. We'll mess around a little time up. We got the morning update. Maybe the grid. We'll see how that goes, but we got it all on a playoff baseball Friday right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Nick Padone. Let's go. Come on now. Guards, baby. Dude, and it's so crazy to think about, we're here because when this week started, with the Monday, with the drama with the Braves and the Mets and then all these other games, it felt like a year. It felt like a year since we were going to play baseball and get to the ALDS, and all of a sudden we're, I'm bad at math, Nick. What is that, 28 hours away, something like that, whatever it might be. 1 o'clock tomorrow, 28 odd some hours away from the Guardians starting their playoff push. And, this week has been, at least for me, and I'd be interested in how other people feel about it, like a quiet confidence, and you get ready to go for the Tigers. We ran through a lot of the statistics yesterday about the in-season matchup between these two teams. The games, here's my biggest thing as we get ready to go for tomorrow, which they have not announced their starter yet, right, Nick? They have not announced who they're starting in that game.
As of now, no.
Okay. Interesting game to be played there. You would think Skubal, who would be on regular rest, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then pitch on Saturday. That's kind of all not that crazy. I do have a take on that. But regardless of the starting pitcher tomorrow for the Tigers, you could look at the season series between these two teams and say, like, all right, 7-6 was our record against them. It was really close. But when you dive into some of the games and when you really look at, there were some blowouts, there was extra innings, but I look at some of the key players that are going to be playing tomorrow. And the Tigers had that insane thing, the graphic they showed on Tuesday, like 5 of their guys that were in the lineup on Tuesday were sent to the minors at some point this season for Detroit. And yeah, them going on that insane, 31-7 run or whatever to make the playoffs, okay. I hope that gas runs out. I really hope that gas runs out against us, and I have a feeling it might. But you look at the actual games against the Tigers and the Guardians this year, yeah, the records were close, but dive into the games, and I feel better about the lineup that we are putting out there. Yeah, Tariq Skubal, whenever he pitches, is going to be the best pitcher. He's the freaking Cy Young winner as the starter. We have the better bullpen because there is no better bullpen than us in baseball. So then I come to the position players, and I just find this where, like, Jose, batted over 300 against the Tigers this year. Josh Naylor did. Tyler Freeman, Bo Naylor had a couple home runs. And that's all individual because that's in season. The playoffs have a different feel to it and a different vibe. But that's where I come into this series feeling really good. I'm not in a cocky sense of things. Just even seeing, dude, there were people that had the Brewers. They're like, oh, watch out for the Brewers. Gone. Hey, man, the Astros, sneaky pick. Extend that streak to go to the ALCS. Bye. See you later. Go get your trash cans on sale. I'm sure they're available there for you. Bye. Like, that's how crazy the playoffs can be. Dude, I didn't have the Orioles losing to the Royals. I really didn't. And again, sweeps for a lot of these. So playoffs are very different, but my confidence comes from the Guardians. I like how some of our guys played against them. Bybee pitched okay. Gavin Williams pitched really well against the Tigers, and a guy I think I might like to see go ahead and make a start against them. You got Boyd whenever he gets in there against his old team. Like, again, it's not me coming here and trying to sit there and say, oh man, we're going to smoke these guys. We're just going to be able to beat them. It's going to be a tough series. It's going to be really hard. But the confidence that I like about this team in facing unknown opponents. There's a conversation I had this week, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this. The Astros we saw, whatever. You didn't see them 13 times. Now, the flip side is you go, well, sometimes that can be bad. Sometimes when you see a team so much or they see your starting pitching so much, that can kind of, sway things the other way. I don't feel that way here. I really don't. And again, would you rather face the Astros or the Tigers not knowing how that series played out? Most people would have signed up for the Tigers. Okay, now you got them. I think about some of the equalizers in this whole thing. Number one is the bullpen. I think you could face Emmanuel Clase 100 times and still walk away and going, I don't freaking know. What am I going to do here? Hunter Gaddis, the bullpen, all of that. And I do think about them versus Bybee, who they've seen, them versus Gavin Williams, who they've seen. But we got these, again, pardon the pun, I apologize on a Friday this early. You got the curveballs where you don't know that they know Matthew Boyd really well because he pitched in Detroit. What vibe do they have for a Ben Lively? What vibe do they have for an Alex Cobb type of guy? Again, they saw Lively, not Cobb this year. I just see these little twists. I see these little things that kind of sway in the favor of the Guardians. Now, I'm going to go off the field here for a second. Vogt versus A.J. Hinch, right? A.J. Hinch, dude, with how that finished, I could see him getting votes for manager of the year. Now, it's not going to go to him. There is in no world that Stephen Vogt does not win the AL manager of the year. Yeah, managerial news we'll get to in a second. So then I go to the off-the-field stuff, and I think about Vogt. And I think about that impact, which is mighty, about the moves. Do you start to... What I don't want Vogt to do, and I'm sure that, Terry Francona, who's got a job now. I was hoping that Terry, him taking that Reds job yesterday is the worst timing. I wanted him in Cleveland this weekend. I wanted him maybe even on the horn with Stephen Vogt talking. I'm sure they talked. I know they talked this week. But I would have loved the little, little earpiece. And hey, Terry, what do you think in this situation here? But whatever. Vogt, don't change what got you here, man. Don't do it. And he's been a player. He spoke about it this week of the differences between being a player and being a manager. And it's easy when you get to this situation to tighten up. To tighten on up and start to rethink things. Don't do it, man. You feel like in your gut, you're ready to go to this bullpen, get it done. You've got the off day. Here, can I make a steadfast rule for this series? Don't let any of your starters see that lineup for the third time. Now, that could get dicey if you get your pitch counts up, if they're working the pitches, and you might have to go to some guys in the fourth inning. But I'm telling you, Pino, I don't like this team having to see that lineup turn over for a third time. Excuse me. So, I look at that bullpen a lot. I hope they're ready to go, but that's something with Stephen Vogt on his usage, on his lineups, all that kind of stuff. I just see a lot in you. I'm the internal optimist, man. I want the Guardians to get this done. I see a lot of things that are pointing their way, and I'm feeling damn good. Good morning, Nick. How are you, man? Dude, let's go, man. We're ready to go. Here we go.
Look at you, a little high on this split shot here. But
that's all right.
We'll bring you down. Yeah. Dude, one of these things. One thing about doing this, if you don't do it for a while, it just it completely eludes you.
So it's the other thing is we're in B studio, studio B,
which was just reconstructed last night.
Well, and then hey, by the way,
so no big deal.
Why is it getting deconstructed again? Because tomorrow, let's go! Come on, Lakewood Truck Park, baby.
Lakewood Truck Park. It's gonna be fun. It is gonna be a lot of fun. So Jensen Lewis is absolutely jazzed for this. By the way,
can I tell you why I love Jensen? He gets it, and he is an energy guy too. Yeah. Everybody loves Jensen. He's the kind of guy you want hosting a pregame, man. So tell everybody, what time are we there?
I think Jensen might already have some parlays in, and we will be...
I thought you were going to say he was already at Lakewood Truck Park, and I was going to be like...
He might be. I'm not sure. Lakewood Truck Park, Saturday, we're starting it up at 11 a.m.
Nice.
Going up until game time, so we're going to be out there early. Food trucks are going to be there.
Do we know what food trucks are?
I'm told the place is going to be jammed. It is on their website. I don't remember off the top of my head, but we know the food trucks are going to be there. I'm hearing that the place is going to be absolutely jam-packed.
I imagine.
Game 1, game 2. We'll be there every single game, Matt, throughout the ALDS.
Yes,
like I said,
I'm stopping by. I'll be there.
Jensen is absolutely pumped for this. Like I said, I really think he already has a Buckeyes and Buckeyes guards parlay for Saturday.
Bro,
what do we have on the menu?
No, tonight. Not tomorrow, but tonight.
All right. That's fine.
Barrio and Beardens.
Wow.
Dude.
They're getting ready for us, Matt. They're getting ready for us.
Oh, that's tonight. Let me get tomorrow. Dude, this is in the afternoon. So in the morning, they have Parilaya and then Brothas. But in the afternoon, smoking rock and roll. Billy Morris, man. How about that? Billy's the man. And then Dog Bowl is going to be there tomorrow. So again, Brothers and there's a parlay in there. It's like Parily. Parila. Sounds like a good parlay to me. So they'll be there at 11 with you guys and then smoking rock and roll in the afternoon. That's the thing. 11's perfect. Yep. You get there, you can hang out right after the game, go right back if you want. So again, we'll be at Lakewood Truck Park all day tomorrow. It's gonna be so awesome with Jensen being there. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Nick, I feel really good about this Guardians team for a lot of things, and it's just like I don't expect them to smoke them. I love them to, but that'd be great. Yeah. But like, I get the sense. Okay, this is weird, but I just have to say it. I get a higher sense. I get it's like a higher being. Like you're destined for this. Like, I don't know why. And it's like, we'll get to the ALCS if we get there and all that other kind of stuff. I just feel that somehow, some way, this team is destined for something here.
Matt, how about that? And players do this all the time, and you got to be careful with, falling too in love too fast. But how about that Stephen Kwan article in the Players Tribune that dropped on Thursday, where he pretty much flat out said exactly what you're saying? This team is special. Yeah. And to hear that from a guy like Kwan, who still is a younger player, but has been around the block in Cleveland, and he, wrote in there how much Terry Francona influenced him understanding how important the playoffs were, not just in Major League Baseball, but to this town. It feels like this team has it's not that they get us, it's that they get it. This team gets it. And that's really important. And I think that's hard to find in pro sports anymore, but they do. They get it.
No, and the thing is, that's baseball too. I mean, you need a closeness about any sport that you play, but baseball, when it's this grind, when it's so long, that is why I think Terry Francona is so vitally important to this town and what he meant for this team, because he created that culture. Now, again, I know the Mickey Callaway situation and beyond, whatever, but like in that clubhouse, you created it where you see it. It's sappy, man, but they go around second base and they, that kind of stuff. That's the little thing that, it's kind of corny, but like Pete Alonso's playoff pumpkin and all that other stuff. You got to find the little rallying points for this team to keep them together. And it is a group that, unlike some of these other squads, it wasn't created in a lab. These were guys, a lot of them played through the minors with one another. A lot of them came up together. A lot of them have been here for multiple years. That galvanizes things. And let's not forget, and a big part of all that is Jose Ramirez, of saying, this is where I'm going to be, this is where I want to stay. And I think the importance about your leader of the team, everybody can look to him, and everybody takes a little bit of pressure off themselves. Everybody's got to do their job, right? Everybody's got a job to do. Everybody's job's not the same. I'm going to ask different of Jose Ramirez than I will of Bo Naylor. I'm going to ask different of Andres Jimenez than I will, I don't even say Lane Thomas, but like everybody's got their job that they've got to roll and get through. Now, you bring up Kwan, which I think is so interesting. And, through that article when he was talking about the College World Series and kind of that, he's a guy that, with the injury, comes back, batted just fine in those couple of games that he had. Nick, that's one I look at and I go, if Stephen Kwan can be the Stephen Kwan that you believe that he should be, setting that lineup, dude, I'm just so jacked to see tomorrow's lineup too. Like, I'm just so there, man. But that's where I look at it and I say, that can be a guy.
Man, I need him to be good. Yeah. If you get good Stephen Kwan throughout this entire first series, this ALDS against Detroit, I like your chances. I really do. I think if a good Stephen Kwan is an X factor, because you're leading off the top of that order, God willing, he could provide some power in this series too. I know he's flashed that throughout times this year. I really think he is one of the X factors going into that, which made it all the more interesting that he was the guy that published that Player Tribune article. Because they need him to be good. They need him to be always on base. That's kind of his moniker. But you're gonna need that offensively. As they go through this entire ALDS, because I put out there, guards in 3, Miguel Cabrera's not walking through that door, but I do think this is going to be a tough series.
No, absolutely. And I was also looking this up because when does the roster need to be set? Like the 26-man postseason roster, that's got to be today, right?
You'd think.
I've seen a lot of projections. We ran through it. The ones that are making it. Then, I mean, honestly. Okay, so I'm going to go to Akron Beacon Journal. Shout out to Ryan Lewis, who covers the team, and he's one of the best beat writers on the team right there. So this is his roster breakdown, which, again, I think it's today, but we'll find out. 26-man ALDS roster. Here's what Ryan says. Your catchers, Bo Naylor, Austin Hedges, no problem. Your infielders, Josh Naylor, Andres Jimenez, Jose Ramirez, Brian Rocchio, Kyle Manzardo, David Fry. No questions on any of those, in my opinion. Your outfielders, he has Stephen Kwan, Lane Thomas, and Will Brennan.
I knew you were going to say that.
Now, here's his bubble guys. Schneemann.
I'm cool.
Angel Martinez.
I would like.
Maybe. John Kenzie Noel. Yeah.
I think you have to.
Dude, you're late in a game and you need a pinch hit home run.
That's what we were talking to about Jensen with Jensen on bringing the heat on Monday. Like, just the ability to flip the game in one swing of a bat. Yeah. Like, he's got to make it.
Then there's Miles Straw and Tyler Freeman. So I mentioned Tyler Freeman. He didn't have as many at-bats in the series against the Tigers this year as some of the other guys. Dude, he batted 384. 385 with 2 doubles in his at-bats against the Tigers. And then there's Miles Straw. I only bring up Miles Straw because he has something that nobody else has. Again, I'm talking about maybe him versus Schneemann, maybe him versus Angel Martinez. You need a stolen base late, that runner's on second, and you got to score, or you're up going to the 9th. Put him in the outfield. I know he doesn't play a lot of right field. Maybe you bump Lane Thomas over there. You got Miles Straw patrolling center with all that speed. I can make my case for one Miles Straw. Again, continuing on, Ryan Lewis, his roster prediction. 3 starters. Bibee, Boyd, Cobb. I don't know about Cobb. Your relief pitchers.
It all depends, dude. Like, can his fingers stay intact?
Yeah, right. Can we just super glue that thing? Emmanuel Clase, Cade Smith, Hunter Gaddis, Tim Herron, and Eli Morgan are locks on the bubble. Sandlin, Walters, Sabrowski, Pedro Vila's got to make it. I think Gavin Williams has to make it.
Yeah, for sure.
Cantillo, probably. And then Ben Lively as well.
Yeah.
Those are the ones on the bubble to kind of fill it out there. I would go, again, of the locks in the bullpen, I would go Sandlin, Avila, Williams, Cantillo, Lively. That would be it for me. Sorry to Walters and Sabrowski. Although Sandlin's not nearly been as good recently there. And then I think you get your options of your starters. You think Matt Boyd starts on Monday? Would you give him the ball game 2? Would you go Boyd or Gavin Williams? I think that's my decision.
I think I'd go Gavin Williams.
I kind of would too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of hype for Boyd.
How about Boyd game 3 in Detroit? That.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I do like that.
I think that's what I do.
That.
I would do Bibee, obviously, game 1, Gavin, game 2. And then, welcome home, Matthew Boyd.
Welcome on home and get it done. Dude, it's going to be so much fun. And it all starts tomorrow. Again, 11 o'clock. We're going to be at Lakewood Truck Park. It's going to be great. And the excitement is starting to build. Now, yesterday we got some big news with Terry Francona, that he is taking the Cincinnati Reds job. And I think some people would be shocked by that. Honestly, Nick, I'm not. I had somebody that I talked to when Terry first stepped down, and they were pretty adamant that he was going to get back into managing eventually. You need to get his health stuff out of the way. I know he's got his grandkids and all that, but he's a baseball lifer, and it's going to be hard for him to step away from the game. So hopefully his health is fine. He goes to the NL. We got the Ohio Cup, which now has a whole new meaning to it. We can just rename that the Francona Cup. Why not? Let's just rename it.
I don't know. He's got to accomplish something.
Well, he's got to do something with the Reds, and the Reds are a dumpster.
Yeah,
but that's okay. So, and the question gets thrown around about, like, oh my God, did you take offense to that? And I'm like, no. Absolutely not. I have no problem whatsoever for Terry wanting to continue on. Number one, it is not a rival. Okay, it's not. It'd be different if he went to the Tigers. It'd be different if he went to the Royals. No.
I was a little worried about the White Sox.
I thought about that, but stay away from that job. I don't think anybody would want that job. And there were a lot of people that thought, man, really, that's the job you're going to take? And you thought maybe he'd hold out for a better job. But I think with what Terry did here in Cleveland, it's a lot of maybe what he's going to try to recreate in Cincinnati. So it's like a rebuild job. It's not like he was walking in to go take some high-profile job. So on that news, I understand that some people are kind of shocked by that or wanted him to just retire for the Guardians. Nick, I'm happy for Terry, and it changes nothing about what he did here. He can continue on. It doesn't tarnish anything that he did here. It doesn't say, if he somehow took the Reds to the World Series and won a World Series, it doesn't change the magic that we had here. It really doesn't. So I know people were shocked by that. Some were. Again, I had people tell me, no, once he gets his health stuff figured out, he's going to be back in the game. So when I saw that, I was like, a little shocked maybe it was the Reds, but I kind of thought Terry was going to get back into the game sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I thought so too. I think it just stings a little bit, and like you said, it's not truly a rival, but just because it's within the state, people were like, "Come on, really?" But it probably does make sense, and I am glad to see health-wise he's back to where he needed to be. And we heard, some things at the end of his tenure that was really the forefront of him stepping away from the Guards. Was he wanted to spend a year getting his health in order, and two, him in the front office might have just had a little bit of their differences. At the end.
Yeah.
And it felt like last season was a good time for Terry Francona to walk away. Now, Matt, one thing I will tell you is, in my heart of hearts, I am a hater. And while I'm glad Terry Francona is doing well, from a health standpoint.
Rooting for the Reds.
I'm not. I hope he doesn't win a game down there in Kentucky. Enjoy Kentucky, Tito. I hope that Steeler doesn't.
Hey, for all your health problems, Tito, stay away from that skyline, baby. That ain't gonna help that.
I hope that scooter doesn't get stolen down there, because if it does, they're not finding it.
I had somebody text me and they go, "I'm glad somebody pooped on his scooter." Come on. It's Terry. You can't kick him out the door now.
It's gonna get stolen, and there's no finding it.
Yeah, no, they're gonna find it in the bottom of the Ohio River. Is what they're gonna find. No, I mean, you're right, and I think that's where we can feel better about it, knowing that you have Stephen Vogt. Ben Axelrod had a great tweet this morning, and somebody was like, "Oh, would you rather have Vogt over Terry?" And they go, "Yeah, and that's going on from a Hall of Fame manager. Anytime you have a transition, what do you want? Just the passing of the baton. And I feel like that happened here about as seamlessly as you could have asked for. And that's a lot on Terry. That's a lot on Vogt. That's a lot on these players. But it went about as well as you could have asked for. And you're talking about longevity in the future. Listen, man, I hope Terry manages for a long time. I don't think it's another 15 years. Stephen Vogt could be here 15 years.
Yeah.
Right?
This is
you wanted the future.
This is a stopgap
for
they Francona and the Reds.
They
needed somebody to pull them out of the depths of hell that they find themselves in. And he's going to be that guy for the next 2 years, 3 years. When we're looking at Stephen Vogt, I mean, this is just the passing of the torch of what has turned into Cleveland baseball stability, with this front office and the way that they operate. And, you're always in the thick of things when it comes to this division, but also in the greater scheme of the American League. Yeah, I'm cool with the decision to move forward with Stephen Vogt. We found our guy. We found the guy, Matt, dare I say, you're talking about special things this year. I don't know that it happens this year. I don't know if it's next year, 5 years down the line. I think the Guardians found the guy that's going to end this championship drought.
I hope so.
Here in Cleveland. It wasn't going to be Francona. At the end, like I said, that last year was just the time where they needed to part ways. Good luck to him with the Reds and all that, but yeah, I don't think he's going to win a whole lot, and you won't find me cheering for him.
No, we're off to bigger and better things. That's it. And he did lay a foundation here, and we're building on it, and we're moving on forward. So great weekend coming up for the Guards. We could see it lining up right now, can't we, Nick? You sit here and you go, all right, Guards, well done. You turn over to Ohio State, Iowa. That'll be a nice little game there on 3:30. The upstart Buckeyes. Hawkeyes got it there. And then Sunday. How many weekends, Nick, have we had? You're like, man, my high school team won on Friday, and Ohio State won on Saturday.
Knights looking good, man.
Looking good, and then we get to Sunday, and you're just like, you just got to get it done.
Get out of your own way.
Just finish out my weekend. I lead up to this every week. do well on Friday. Saturday was great. Guards win. Ohio State wins. Sit on down at 1 o'clock. Crap. Ruin the weekend. I don't know if that's going to happen, though. Browns taking on the Commanders on Sunday. So biggest stories getting to go for here. Listen, I know Jaden Daniels is absolutely insane, and that's going to be the number one task of Jim Schwartz in this defense on Sunday. This is kind of weird, Nick, as the flip is gone with all this just drama and all this stuff that's been going on with the offense. I turn it here for the defense. I'm going to sit here right now and tell you this has got to be a defensive-led game. If you think that without scoring 20 points with Deshaun Watson this year, that you can enter some sort of shootout with Jaden Daniels and that Washington offense, you're wrong. This game has got to be the turnaround for Jim Schwartz. It's not going to change my evaluation of Deshaun Watson, and I'm going to still watch very intently on how he plays. This game is going to be won or lost on our defense. That's it. Not their defense versus our offense, how much their offense, whatever, fine. It's can you stop Jaden Daniels and this Commanders offense? We'll kind of do a pseudo Friday report card as we get going. But here's basically the things that you need to look for the Commanders. Number one, they are the third highest run rate team in the NFL. And a lot of those are quarterback scrambles with Jaden Daniels. As we know, he's only thrown a couple of touchdowns. He's run in quite a few. Setting that edge and not letting him get outside that pocket is going to be massive for this team. Now, the completion percentage is another one that obviously jumps off the chart, right? His last 3 games, 80, 91, and an 87% completion rate. I had the stat for Pat yesterday. Nick, I'm going to throw it on you. Jaden Daniels becomes the second quarterback in NFL history to finish a calendar month in the NFL with higher than a 75% completion percentage and 200 rushing yards. Do you know who the other quarterback was?
No.
Recent.
Is it recent?
A little recent. If you had to guess a guy that throws and runs a lot.
See, but early in his career, he didn't throw a lot. I want to guess Lamar.
It is Lamar.
Nice. All right.
He did
I didn't know that he threw enough early.
Right. He did. Well, think about it. It's not even thrown because, again, you could have low throws and just a high completion percentage.
That's true.
He did that in 2019. He won the MVP in 2019.
Yeah.
So he did that in November of 2019. Again, a month of 75% or better completion percentage and over 200 yards rushing. Jaden Daniels did it for the month of September. Lamar did that back in November of 2019 on his way to win the MVP. Now, you look at these 4 games, and you might say that, right? Because that's what I was going to say about Jaden Daniels. Oh, he's got a high completion percentage. What, is he thrown it 18 times? No, he's had at least 20 pass attempts in all 4 of his games, including an insane 26 out of 30 last week against the Arizona Cardinals. The other thing, this is dink and dunk 5-yard stuff. He's averaging 9 yards per completion. This is down the field type of stuff. Tampa Bay, who we just saw last night get into a shootout, the Giants, the Bengals, and Arizona. That's when you look at it and you say, compare the defenses. And I think we all have to have this shift that the defense that we had last year is not the same defense that we have today. But what they have to do on Sunday, okay? And this is going to be a pseudo report card as we run through this. So start Jaden Daniels. We know where he's at. Let's get to the wide receivers. Terry McLaurin is their clear number 1. Do not sleep on Luke McCaffrey in this game coming out of the slot, okay? I know he ain't his brother right now, but he's a guy that can hurt you. Zach Ertz, a little bit on that return of, I don't want to say formerly, but, they can get him some passes there. And then former Buckeye Noah Brown. These are not big splashy name type of guys, but they have all of a sudden this amazing rapport with Jaden Daniels. This is another part for our defense here. No offense to the other teams that they played, Arizona, Cincinnati, the Giants, and Tampa Bay. They don't have the corners we do. At least they shouldn't, right? And I know MJ Emerson's been picked on a lot. Bro, he might be a big one for me Sunday. Because here's the thing. Denzel, if they're not going to do the flip, and he's not going to follow Terry McLaurin. Now, I did an interview with Deuce out of Washington this week for his podcast. So I was talking to him about the Commanders. And I said, Denzel, he's playing this left to right. And he goes, well, that works well because Terry McLaurin only ever lines up on the left. He never leaves the left side of the offense, ever. So if you want to put this, that Denzel, I'm just trying to think through the games, I think is on the offensive left a lot. You want to leave him over there against Terry McLaurin, fine. Then I'm going to ask MJ Emerson. That's Noah Brown. He's a big-bodied guy. You're a big-bodied corner. Get to know him pretty well. And then I would assume Greg Newsome should have a little bit of an advantage taking on Luke McCaffrey. Then here comes Zach Ertz. And you're going to say, who's going to defend him? Is it going to be Grant Delpit? When you look at this receiving core for Washington, again, Jaden Daniels, he's throwing fine. He doesn't have a 300-yard game yet. We know how he is on the ground rushing so well. But I would look at our corners versus their receivers, and it should be an edge. It should be an edge for the Cleveland Browns. Now we go to their offensive line. Here's the biggest thing that we have to watch for their offensive line. So their left tackle is a guy named Cornelius Lucas. The thing is, he's been rotating through the left tackle. Let me find the name of this other guy that's been out there. So, Brandon Coleman. That's it. Brandon Coleman. So Cornelius Lucas is kind of this veteran. He's been there. Coleman went through an injury in training camp, and they're still getting him out there. Lucas had the majority of the left tackle snaps in the first couple of weeks, but eventually Brandon Coleman's time has been being increased at that left tackle spot. I don't care who it is. That should be a feast for Myles Garrett. Bad feet and all. His snap percentages, I don't think you're getting above 60%, right? He's around 50% for game 3. Last week, he got a little uptick, I think, as they figure out what this feet problem are, and you fight your way through it. So you're only getting him for about 60% of the time, but you better be able to get after him, whoever it is over there. Other than that, they're just kind of solid. Former Texan Tyler Biadasz is their center. Nick Allegretti is their left guard. Their left side of the offensive line is their best side. Even with Cornelius Lucas in there, he is actually one of their highest graded players. They're actually, on PFF, he is their best offensive tackle. Offensive lineman, excuse me. Then there's Biadasz. Here's where you get to go. Sam Kosemi on their right guard, and then their right tackle is the ageless one. I guess not that old. He's only 30. Andrew Wiley. I feel like Wiley's been playing forever. Remember when he was in Kansas City and all over. Their offensive line is solid. But again, it's a lot of Jaden Daniels running. The biggest thing is Brian Robinson. He has not practiced the last 2 days. Today might be a big day to figure out if he's actually going to be in there. Now, of course, who else do they have? Austin Eckler. And you got to watch out because the Browns, I guess it's hard for any team. I don't know why, Nick. I always feel like they never cover receiving backs all that well. So if they got to go to Eckler, it's not quite the fall off that it would be. But Brian Robinson is graded out as a top 15 back so far. Him missing 2 days of practice with a knee injury probably bodes pretty well for the Browns.
Yeah, you got to keep an eye on what happens today. Because, I mean, if he doesn't practice today, then, all right, you're going to play Austin Eckler. But the one thing that I will say about Eckler, although he is a pass-catching back, and the Browns sure have their documented issues against that, boy, has he just lost this step. I do like my chances against Jeremiah Owusu, Koromoa, Austin Eckler, kind of clashed in there at the line of scrimmage a couple times. I think JOK wins the majority of those battles. It's interesting hearing about their offensive line. But my biggest thing, Matt, defensively, is can guys just make tackles?
Dude, you look our tackling has been so bad, hasn't it?
And it all should favor the Browns, but yeah, you can't just be pinballing off of guys. You need to wrap up and get guys onto the ground. And I know a big piece of it was they were trying to end the turnover drought. They were trying so badly to force fumbles, get that football out, but dude, against the Commanders and a lot of these players offensively, like you're talking about, McCaffrey is one, although, he's not his brother. He's a speedy, shifty little guy. Terry McLaurin, we know what he can do.
I'm always a big Terry guy.
Just get these guys on the ground, man. But don't let them get the football into their hands with clear grass in front of them because they're going to take off and go with it.
The other thing talking about injuries, so number one, not only just Brian Robinson, Noah Brown had a groin pop up there. He didn't practice yesterday. And Nick Allegretti, their starting guard, he was limited coming back from an ankle injury. So they're battling injuries. We got plenty. Again, it sucks Alex Wright out for the season with the tricep. And I guess good news on the offensive line that you got Conklin and Wills back out there. Whether they have to play. I need one of those guys to get out. If not both, put Conklin back out at right tackle. Go ahead and put Jed Wills back out there. Concerned about Njoku, limited, then didn't practice, or do you think that's just a maintenance thing with his ankle? David Njoku's got to go. I think he's going to have to go this Sunday and give it a look.
Dude, if nothing else, you just gotta help out that offensive line. For if nothing else, just be out there and be a glorified fullback for a day.
Well, especially just to give the offense another threat. Sorry to Jordan Akins, man. They're not worried about him. They ain't worried about anybody else. You know, anybody
Blake
else. Blake Whiteheart ain't happening.
I like him,
buddy. No. Everybody looking at that and going, what's going on there? You flip it over for the Commanders' defense, near bottom of the league in a lot of areas. You want to know why? Their secondary blows. That's right. I said it. Now, they are a team that was built on the middle. They still have Deron Payne. They still have Jonathan Allen. They bring in Dante Fowler, Bobby Wagner there. The problem is, Nick, none of these guys grade out all that well. And in fact, Jonathan Allen is the 92nd ranked defensive lineman in football on PFF. That's bad. It's a lot worse for their corners.
Yeah.
This is something you're going to have to watch on the outside. Their two corners are trash. They are. They're not good. Benjamin St. Juste and then the other guy I'm not going to be able to, Mike Santrill, whatever. They're not good. The thing about this game you're going to have to watch is the outside throws. The area that they really, really, really struggle in is outside the numbers. That is where Amari Cooper should feast. We've seen Jerry Jeudy make some plays on that sideline. You're going to have to do that again. It's going to ask for what, though? You need time for Watson, and he's going to have to be accurate on long throws. Those are long throws going from the pocket to outside those numbers, but there's a big advantage that could be had for the Browns in passing. Now, the problem is, does that play into the Commanders' hand of saying, we'll play shootouts with you? Go ahead. First to 35 is going to win this game. And they're going to put that back on the Browns' offense that's been sputtering and say, we're just going to wait you out on this thing. And we're going to put up our points with Jaden Daniels. That's, again, why I think our defense, if we can limit them and take some pressure off of that offense and say, you don't need 35. You can score us 20-something and we'll get the win here. But you're going to, you should be able to throw in this game out there. Cliff Kingsbury, offensive coordinator, though, obviously they run the football a lot with him as an emotional win. Dan Quinn is their head coach, defensive-minded guy, and all that kind of stuff. But really on the Friday report card, I would go this. You have to go Jaden Daniels over Amari Cooper. Receiving core, wash at best. Maybe a slight towards Commanders on that, including the tight end potentially. Offensive line has to go to them. It does. Running back has to go to the Commanders, whether or not Robinson plays. And defensively, I'm actually going to say it's us. I actually think it's going to have to be us.
Dude, it's got to be. When you have Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, Martin Emerson, Greg Newsom, it's got to be.
It's got to be. And this is entering a must-win type scenario for the Cleveland Browns. There's just no question about all this swirling stuff about Amari Cooper, all these questions on the in-game, the decisions, and Deshaun. You know what I really want, Nick? I don't want to have to do a show Monday where there's another still shot of a play and everybody pointing to Deshaun and going, what the hell were you thinking here? Why didn't you throw? As long as we can avoid that, I think we'll be doing okay. I'd like a win. I feel like the Browns are going to get a win, but I just want to avoid the still shot on Monday.
The screenshotters got Baker last night. The screenshotters got Baker.
Did they?
Yeah. He missed Mike Evans.
Oh,
right
no, I
in the
saw
middle
they
of the
did on the
field.
broadcast because it was a screen and Evans was running.
Oh, yeah.
Like
it was on Twitter. It was all on Twitter.
All right, we're going to go around the league. Let's start with Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
And I'm not some Baker fan. I don't have anything against Kirk Cousins or for it. That blatant face mask. Now, they had a holding call. It would have been offsetting, but it would have kept them in field goal range. How do you miss that? Seriously. How do you miss that? And in today's day and age, where I am sitting on my couch watching that game, how can there not somebody to be, I think it was Ron Torbert last night, right? Hey, Ron, face mask, offsetting penalties, call that. What are we doing? Seriously.
Dude, Al Michaels called it in real time.
You know it's bad when Al Michaels saw it.
Dude, he was like half asleep up there in the booth.
Sorry to Al.
Yeah, he was like half asleep up there in the booth, and he's like, and I think we're going to have a face mask here. And then
Everybody
they
saw
say
it.
offensive holding, and he was like, whoa, was there not a face mask? Did they overlook that? They showed the replay, and I mean, it wasn't one of those ticky-tacky ones either, Matt, where maybe got a finger or something stuck in there. The head completely turned.
Now, it tells you about the shift a little bit where, you know, we're starting to see a little more passing across the league where it was so down. Kirko goes off for freaking 500. 3 touchdowns for him and 4. Freaking Kadero Hodge. I'm so happy for Kadero Hodge, though. Everybody loved him here in Cleveland. He's a hell of a special teamer. But I think a lot of Browns fans, and I saw this on Twitter, you're right on. Dude, Kadero Hodge made some plays for us, too, in that receiving room and on the offense. So I was happy to see that. It was a great game. It was a shootout. You get the overtime, which is a lot of fun. And now we get to our weekend of picks. Let's go around the league. Nick, you're standing in for Ryan this week. So here's what we got coming into week number 5. Here we go.
I'm ready
Last
for it.
week, I won a respectable 8, 7, and 1 last week. I'll have to add Ryan up for last week. I think he wins 7, 8, and 1 because we had a lot of flip games on that. And then the Monday night. So I come in on the season with a respectable 36, 25, and 2. Or 3, excuse me. So I'm about 10 games above 500. I'll have to add it up here. But Doan, you're in.
That's good. You're in the playoff hunt with that record there, Matt.
By the way, shout out to the Action Network, and we're gonna have some of their people on next week, talk some fantasy and some prop stuff, which is great. Dude, they have such. Evan Abrams kills it. Like pretty much when I run through a lot of my stats, I just go to Evan's week 5 breakdown, and he's got so many fun stats. I'll get to that. But I saw this from the Action Network this morning. After the Bucks failed to cover last night, the public, which they just do public money, right? The start of the season, the public is now 22, 39, and 1. That is the worst start in 20 years for the public bettors. A $100 better would be down $1,900.
Matt, it makes
week 5.
It makes me feel
4 in 1 game.
It makes me feel a hell of a lot better about what's going on in my DraftKings account right now.
Well, might need to add some money to mine coming up here in a little bit. We'll see. That's all right. I'm taking the Guards tomorrow, so we'll get back on that horse. Let's make some good picks. Let's turn it around this weekend. We start London. Here we go. What do you think of the London games?
I love it. I love it.
9:30 football.
They're never that great, but I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take anything that I can bet on.
So I always love the under when it comes to these games overseas. I just think there's just so much travel. There's so much going on. So let me get you the quick over-under on this. I don't usually do a lot of over-unders, but I'm just curious for this game. So it is the Vikings, technically the home team in this game, as a 2.5-point favorite. The over-under is 40. I might like it at 44, but I'll take that for what it is. And I bring it up for this. A few facts of the 45 total international games played in the NFL. The under with a slight edge of 24 and 21. When talking about Wembley Stadium where they play in London, the under is 14 and 11 on the under there. And I think they're at Wembley. I don't know if they're at Tottenham, wherever they might be. But favorites have excelled in international games. They are 34, 10, and 1 straight up, and 30 and 15 against the spread in 45 NFL international games. Favorites at Tottenham, which I guess is where they're playing, are only 3 and 5. The other international stadiums are better. But Nick, that tells you to go ahead and take the Vikings here. The favorites are a big one here. Teams going from a road game to being an underdog in an international game are just 2-14 and 1 straight up, losing by an average of 11 points per game. Talked about the public. Public is struggling a bit with overseas. 51% of tickets in international games, so basically a slight edge for the favor, or the slight edge of the public money, are just 21 and 23 against the spread. I didn't look public money for this game. I keep needing to do that to give people where the public is at. Give me 2 seconds here.
I've got at least. Do you want like what?
I got public money. 77% of it is on the Vikings.
That's about that.
Is that what you got? Yeah, 77%.
I got 75.
So that tells you the public is not good at picking international games, and they like the Vikings a lot. But then we come back to favorites kind of dominate these international games. We'll see. Vikings are 4-0 straight up and against the spread in the full games, and they've covered both the first half and first quarters in all of their games thus far. The last 20 years, the Vikings are only the third team to start 4-0 straight up and cover all of those games, including the first half, joining the 2008 Titans and the 2007 Patriots. There have been 24 teams to start 4-0 over the last 20 years. 17 of those 24, covering the spread are also 4-0 straight up. All right, let me see if I can get you some specific ones here. Aaron Rodgers gets his first crack at a Brian Flores-led defense, which has just been really good, as we've known. Flores was part of the Patriots staff for 14 years. Rodgers faced New England 3 times in that stretch, facing Brian Flores in New England. He averages 14 points per game when he was with the Packers facing it. Entering last week, Rodgers was 13-3 straight up at home on 10 days plus rest, but the Broncos' 8-point dogs handed him his 4th career loss in that situation. To start his career, Rodgers was 5-1 straight up the game after a loss of 7 points. Okay, so here's what it is. To start his career, after a loss of 7 points or more to a dog of 7 or more, to a loss to a dog of 7 or more points, the following game, Aaron Rodgers is 5-1 in that situation. There should be a little bounce back there, seeing what's going on. The Vikings are hot. I do think the Jets are reeling a little bit, because now you're going to have all this Nathaniel Hackett, Robert Saleh stuff coming up. I usually take the dog in these London games. I usually do. But I sleep on Minnesota.
Feeling a little Rodgers here, man?
I keep sleeping on Minnesota.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to take the Flores defense. I'm going to take Minnesota to win this game, and I think they're going to do it by more than 3. Nick?
All right. I'll go Jets money line.
All right. That's where you got it. So you will take the Jets there. You get your 2.5, but go ahead and take them on the money line there.
Right.
All right, 1 o'clock, we got the Panthers taking on the Bears, as we got Andy Dalton, Caleb Williams in this one. The Bears have historically dominated this matchup. The Bears are 6-1 straight up against the Panthers. Since 2010, they've won 3 straight and 4 games at home. So we're back here again. As favorites of 4 points or more, Bears are an even 4 on this one. The Bears have covered the spread in 4 consecutive games, going all the way back to December of 2020. Recently, though, the Bears have covered the spread in 4 straight games as the favorite at home and are still under the 5-point mark. So their last 4 games at home being under 5-point favorites, they've covered them all. Caleb Williams has started his career 2-2 straight up, but he is 3-1 against the spread, and he has won both his games and covered when he's a favorite. Bears defense up and down so far this year. Caleb Williams does lead the NFL in pass attempts of 20 yards or more down the field at 22. The only problem is he's only completed 3 of those 20 passes. So they're trying to push it down the field, and we'll see. The upgrade from Bryce Young to Andy Dalton has helped. Panthers scored 60 points in Andy Dalton's 2 starts. They scored 61 in 7 of Bryce Young's starts a season ago. Panthers have been an underdog in 24 straight games and 33 of their last 34. They've not been favored since 2022. They've lost 9 straight games against the spread as a favorite. Again, dog here, but they're not covering it all that well. Bears at 4. This line opened at 5.5. It's down to 4.5. 60-40 public money on the side of the Bears, and even 4. Nick, you're up first here.
All righty. I'm going to go with give me the Bears, Matt. I feel like
take them as well.
Eventually the Andy Dalton magic is going to run out, and when it runs out, it's going to be like, ooh, it ran all the way out at once. So I'll take Chicago.
I think Caleb Williams is starting to figure it out a little bit. I really
think so
do.
Too.
I think missing Keenan Allen for a couple games.
He's not a complete bum. I know people wanted to have fun with it, but he's going to be okay.
And it's easy to jump on the Jaden Daniels train right now and try to make those comparisons. I think Caleb Williams is going to get it figured out. I'm not a big believer in the Panthers. I think, again, they had a nice little reset with Dalton. They'll get back to Bryce Young eventually. I just don't think there's much going on with that offense with the Panthers.
And Matt, we see it so much across sports. That always happens. When you make a big change, whether it's a coaching change, a quarterback change, you always play with a little bit more fuel. You'll play a little bit more inspired. But then the average always finds a way to creep back in. And for the Panthers, their average is just bad. So I'll take Chicago -4.
Here we go. The marquee game at 1 o'clock. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. Here we go. Ravens, Bengals down there at Paycor Stadium. And it is the Ravens as a road favorite. 2.5 is what we got. Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson have faced each other 5 times in their career. Jackson is 4-1 in those games and holds a 3-2 against the spread average against Joe Burrow. Now, here's a weird one. They've only faced each other once in Cincinnati. Injuries for Burrow, injury for Lamar. And in that one game, it was a 27-24 win for the Ravens as a 3.5-point underdog who got that outright win last September. Underdogs in the AFC North divisional games have been a cash cow, covering 61% of the time since 2018. The best of any division that are 500 against the spread or better in 7 straight seasons. So the AFC North tells you what? When they're playing divisional games, you take the dog. Burrow has made 29 home starts in his career with the Bengals. He's closed as an underdog just 8 times. He is 4-4 straight up in those games, but he's 5-3 against the spread. And 2 of those games were against Patrick Mahomes. Now, he won both of those games. But again, talking about Lamar here. Burrow 8-5-1 against the spread when he is a home dog of 3 points or less, which we have here at the 2.5. We flip it over for a little bit of Lamar Jackson in this one. The Ravens are the first team in league history to outrush their opponents by 100 or more yards in each of their first 4 games. As a favorite of 3 points or less in his career, Lamar Jackson is 24-5 against the spread in his career in the regular. So again, regular season of favorites of 3 points or less, he is 24-5. He is the best quarterback in the last 20 years in that situation, Nick Padone. Damn it. I was so ready to slam the Bengals, and I was like, no.
You want me to go for? I have mine.
Go.
I don't know if you want to go.
Go. No, you go. I think I'm going to stick with my gut.
I'm taking the Ravens.
You're taking the Ravens?
I'm taking the Ravens. Matt, and leave the history and the AFC North dogs out of it. I don't think the Cincinnati Bengals are that good this year.
You know what? I think you're right.
That defense, Matt,
right. Yeah.
stinks.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're saving me some money here, man. I really do. Because, like, okay, Burrow and Lamar, take it out of it. Jamar Chase is the best skill position player. What the fuck is up with Mark Andrews, by the way?
No, gone.
Nothing. Zay Flowers, nothing.
Milk carton.
You know, they just got to run it with Derrick Henry. Yeah, you're right, man.
And you could do that against Cincinnati.
Cincinnati,
they have nobody up on that defensive line.
Marlon Humphrey knows Jamar Chase, man.
Yep. Shout out my guy, Jack Settleman, Snapback Pod. It's popping off season 2 with Marlon Humphrey. I'm all over the Ravens in this.
Talk me out of it. So ready to take Cincinnati. I'm like, I think this is a bounce back game for them. They need it.
Best quarterback in 20 years, man.
I think you're spitting some truth over there, Nick Padone. The Bengals might suck. You're gonna save me money. I'll take Baltimore. You talked me out of that.
If anything, we're going to be both wrong together, and I'll text you at 4 o'clock.
That's fine. I'll blame you, and
you'll
get my Venmo code right there. Here we go. 60-40% public money is on the side of the Baltimore Ravens as a road favorite there. Another marquee quarterback matchup as the Houston Texans welcome in Josh Allen and crew. CJ Stroud, Josh Allen. Here we go. The Texans and the Dolphins are the only 2 teams left in the NFL without an against the spread cover. In Game 5 or later, teams without at least one cover have covered 55% of the time, which tells you they're due. The Bills' 25-point loss to the Ravens broke a 43-game regular season stretch where they didn't lose a game by more than 6 points. The last time they lost by more than 6 points in the regular season was 2021. They got smoked by the Colts 41-15. Now, the next game in that one, then they also lost to the Bengals in the playoffs coming out of that one. That was the other time they lost by more than 17 points. On the other side of the spectrum, Allen has 71 career wins. 51 of those 71 have been by more than 7 points. Josh Allen, after a straight-up loss in his career, is 22-8 straight up, but he is just 15-13-2 against the spread. When on the road following a loss, 11-2 straight up, 8-4-1 against the spread. And I failed to mention, the Bills are a 1-point road favorite in this game. Josh Allen, for the second week in his career, will face a contender in the AFC. In the conference, Josh Allen is just 16-17 against conference teams that went to the playoffs the year prior. So again, facing an AFC team that went to the playoffs the year prior, he is just 16-17 in his career. CJ Stroud has faced 3 opponents in his NFL career who averaged 24 points per game or more on the season entering the game. In those matchups, the Texans are just 1-2 and 0-3 against the spread, being outscored 81-36. So your stat off of that is when they play a high-powered offense, they can't match. They cannot match that. Now, this is a different team, maybe a little bit better of a defense, but we'll see. For the first time since 2012, the Texans opened the season by being favored in their first 4 games when they were favored in their first 8. And obviously, they are dogs here at -1 for Buffalo. This one is 55-45. It's one of the closest public money of the week. 55% of public money is on the Buffalo Bills. I'm not going to overreact to that Buffalo game when they just got smoked. I think that was just more about Baltimore. But it also had to open up some things to understand, can Josh Allen keep doing this himself? I look at Houston. I think that they're kind of in almost a must-win type of situation. This is a really key game for the Houston Texans, right? They're 3-1. The rest of the division is getting thinned out a little bit. This win launches you to a 2-game, in essence, a 2-game lead. We'll get to the Colts coming up in a second.
Yep.
In the South.
Not to mention, it's a hell of a measuring stick. I mean, if Houston could go out there and look good against Buffalo, okay, now maybe Buffalo has 2 stinkers in the can back-to-back against the Ravens and then the Texans. But I think if you're the Texans and you can springboard yourself in that division, but then also do it against a Buffalo Bills team, it means a little bit more. You want me to go first? Or
I'm gonna take Buffalo here. I'm gonna read into the Texans struggling with the Jags a little last week and maybe a little struggle there. And I'm just gonna ride that stat about CJ Stroud. When he plays a high-powered offense, they can't match. I'll take Buffalo there. What about you?
I'm gonna go with Buffalo as well. Okay, I think Buffalo just needs it.
Yeah,
they need it.
Well, Jacksonville needs one bad too, buddy, because they just got to get one to go through.
Doug Peterson.
They're at home, 1 o'clock. Do we get Anthony Richardson for this game? I haven't heard anything. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think so.
Trevor Lawrence, nonetheless, this is still a 3-point home favorite for Jacksonville. I think that's Vegas telling you they don't think Anthony Richardson's going to play. Because I think if Anthony Richardson was going to play, this would be a 1-point game for the Colts, potentially.
Could we have more? Is it going to be a situation where we're all... The nice thing is the Browns play at 1 o'clock, so I won't have to watch Joe Flacco, but the Joe Flacco aspect will be there. Because even if they throw Richardson out there, it's a rib injury. I mean, the likelihood of Flacco seeing game action is decent. One shot to those bruised ribs, and you're reminded that you're hurt.
2 straight limited practices for Anthony Richardson getting ready to go for this game. Public money is an even 60-40. 60-40 on the Colts to get this done. Let's see where we're at. Trevor Lawrence has lost 9 consecutive starts dating back to last year, including 4 straight starts as a favorite, 6 straight starts as an underdog. The worst quarterback on the money line since last season. Bryce Young, Jalen Hurts, then Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence is 33-23 in his career, which he's still the 4th most profitable quarterback in the NFL, but he's under 500 November or later. So earlier, he's good, which is bad. He's bad now. He's usually really good early in the season and bad later. As by opponents of the AFC South, there is only one team in his career that he is below 500 against. That is the Houston Texans. He is 2-5 straight up and just 3-4 against the spread in his career against the Houston Texans. For the Texans in this one, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm messed up with the Colts. They're playing the Colts. He wins against the Colts. He is 5-1 against the spread in his career against the Colts and 4-2 straight up. Sorry, that stat is he owns the Titans and he owns the Indianapolis Colts. That's where we're at. Obviously, it's been a tough go for Indianapolis to see if it's going to be Anthony Richardson or not. Jags -3. I'm going to take them just because they have no choice but to win this game. So I'm going to take them that they win by more than 3.
Dude, I know it's the Colts, and I know that they're going to be without, this line indicates they think it's going to be without Richardson.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised that the spread is Jacksonville -3.
I am too. That's why it's like,
if anything, it would be like a true pick 'em.
I do look at it from that standpoint. I do think it's a bit of a pick 'em game.
I'm going to go with Jacksonville as well. I mean, You talk about needing a win. If you lose this one, especially to to the Colts without their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, the questions about Doug Peterson begin to be asked on a much louder and more national scale than they've been already.
Speaking of not having your starting quarterback, Miami taking on the Patriots. Used to be a feast for the Patriots in Miami. No longer the case. It is the Patriots, a 1-point home favorite, as it looks like we'll get Tyler Huntley again.
Prison inmate.
Dude, this is one of the worst. This is the worst game of the weekend for sure. 60% of public money is on the Patriots. Nick, this line swung from 4.5 for Miami to now 1 for the New England Patriots. They're going to do Jacoby Brissett again, but is it going to be Tyler Huntley? We'll see. The Dolphins have been favored against the Patriots 6 out of 42 games since 2003, and 6 of those 3 games have been, 3 out of those 6 have been just in the last couple of years. Dolphins are 3-2 straight up in their last 5 games in New England. Prior to that, they were just 2-14. Again, Tom Brady. So maybe this opens it up. Mike McDaniel comes in his career just 19-21 against the spread. He is 17-16 with Tua, 2-5 with Teddy Bridgewater, Tyler Huntley, and Skylar Thompson. So shockingly, he doesn't really cover all that well without Tua Tagovailoa. In the 7 games without Tua, they've scored 21 or less points in 6 out of those 7 games. Mike McDaniel coached 6 games on short rest. All of those 6 games came with Tua, but even then, he was just 2-4 as a coach and 3-3 against the spread on short rest. The Patriots have not opened the season as underdogs in all 5 of their games since 1991, and they won't here because I have them as a favorite. Jacoby Brissett coming in, this is first half. He's a great first half quarterback, but now he's lost 3 in a row first half spread. So again, that probably tells you Miami can maybe get out to a little bit of a lead here and see how it goes. This is projected to be the lowest over-under of the week, lower than 37, and 73% of those have hit the under since 2020. So probably take the under in this game. This will be the 27th game in the last 10 years where the Dolphins franchise has turned to a backup quarterback with Tua Tagovailoa out. Teddy Bridgewater, Jacoby Brissett, Josh Rosen, Brock Osweiler, Matt Moore, whatever. They are just 10-16 against the spread and 3-12 straight up since the start of the 2019 season. They haven't won a road game straight up with a backup quarterback since 2016. Again, that's pre-Mike McDaniel.
And Tom Brady is it?
Yeah.
Like Foxborough being that difficult of a place to play, but I mean, still.
I'm crapping on Mike McDaniel hard this week, man.
Dude, it's just that you can't be a Tua merchant. You can't be good when everything is good, and then when things aren't good, you can't just succumb.
Well, now they lost Jalen Phillips, partially torn ACL. He's out.
You're talking to the Patriots here, man.
I kind of think I'm going to take New England too.
Yeah,
I'm going to take New England.
Which is a bummer because I'm a Tua fan.
Yeah.
Like big time Tua fan, and I wanted to see them at least try to keep the season alive for him to come back. And they're saying that this could potentially be, his last week, if not maybe one more week of being sidelined after that scary concussion. But yeah, I'm with you.
Broncos welcome in the Raiders. Bo Nix, Gardner Minshew. Is the Broncos a 3-point home favorite in this game? But 71% of public money is on the Raiders to cover that 3. Broncos have struggled mightily with the Raiders in recent years. They've lost 8 consecutive games, and they are 1-10 straight up in their last 11. Against the spread, they're not much better. Denver is just 1-12 against the spread versus the Raiders since the middle of 2017. They haven't beaten the Raiders since Drew Lock did it in 2019. Since 2015, the Broncos' home unders are better at 62% and covered over 9 straight years above 500 on the under, which tells you where you need to go. Gardner Minshew comes into this game 0-1 straight up as a favorite, but 2-1 straight up as a dog. In his career, he is 9-5 straight up when he's listed as the betting favorite, but just 8-19 when he is the underdog. The Raiders' run game has been atrocious this season, second fewest rushing yards in the NFL, and their 84 rushes, fewest of any team. The Broncos do sit 3-0 against the spread on the road already. And Sean Payton has been great on the road. But the Broncos did not cover their one other home game this year. And since 2018, Sean Payton at home is just 19-27 against the spread. Antonio Pierce coming in 9-3-1 against the spread with the Raiders in his career. That's the best against the spread win percentage for any coach of the Raiders in the wild card era. Now, I wonder about the Raiders' headspace with all this Devontae Adams situation. He ain't going to play this weekend. You can't be trying to trade him, put him out there, and let him pull a hamstring or do something worse, all right? I think he's going to be out again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the hamstring injury that he currently has is suspicious at best.
Broncos beat the Jets in a sloppy rain kind of game. We just saw the Raiders. I do not like that there is so much public money over there on the Raiders because I think I got to take them here. I think I'm going to take them plus the 3. Again, if you're going to give me the 3, could be a close game. They might win outright. I'm going to take Vegas in that without a doubt.
I am as well. I think they're the better team in this matchup, flat out. I don't know what happened in that Denver Jets game last week. I think it was kind of a fluke, probably. I'm going to go with the Raiders.
All right, one of the biggest spreads, actually the biggest spread of the weekend, is the 49ers, a 7-point home favorite against the Arizona Cardinals. Do the Cardinals stink?
Dude,
I don't know.
Speaking of quarterbacks, Matt, that probably aren't that good, that I'm a big fan of, and that I would circle on if the Browns lose this game and Deshaun doesn't look good and you don't want to go back to the well of rookie QBs, there's a guy out there in Arizona that if the Browns pulled off a trade, old Nick Padone would be the first guy standing in line at the team shop waiting to get a jersey. I'm just saying.
Kyler Murray? I'd think about it. I don't know. I think about it. We'll see. 60-40 public money is on the side of San Francisco. It's been bought down 2 points. It opened at 9.5. It is to 7.5 right now. That's a big number, but do you know who's really good at covering big numbers? Brock Purdy. In his career, straight up, he is 17-4 against the spread. But, oh no, sorry, this is a flip. I thought he was 17-4. No, he doesn't cover big numbers. When he's favored by 4 points or more, he is 9-12 against the spread. When he's 3.5 or less, he is 8-2. Against division opponents, Brock Purdy is 6-3 against the spread against the NFC West. He has faced the Cardinals 3 times in his career. Do you know what he's done in that game? 3-0, covered all 3, including spreads of 12.5, 15, and 14.5. Now, he faced Josh Dobbs, David Blau, and Kyler Murray in those games. So he's only faced Kyler Murray 1 time for this one. Teams to lose by 17 points or more versus a team who won by 17. Here's a stat. So again, Cardinals lost by 17.
This is a tale of 2 teams coming off in 2 different polar opposite blowouts.
17 loss-win.
Yeah.
Against the spread, they are 60% cover. So again, that is, 60% cover for the team that lost. Yeah. So this tells you that the situation the Cardinals are in, again, for a team to lose by 17 versus a team that won by 17, the team that lost the week prior covering about 60% of the time. The problem is the Cardinals, which again, it's hard because they haven't had Kyler Murray or whatever, they suck in their own division. Their last 16 games against the NFC West, they were only 3-13 against the spread. If Kyler Murray finds himself down at any point in the game, the Cardinals are just 3-29 straight up when they find themselves down by 10 points or more since 2021. It's 7. I feel like an idiot. Give me Arizona to cover the 7. It's too big.
I'm going to go with the Niners.
It's too big. That's fine.
All right.
It's
All
too.
right.
I think this is a shootout. I don't know why. I hate that. Circle that as the stinky play of the week. I hate that one. I don't like it, but I already wrote it down, so where it's at.
And it's not like Niners are world beaters, Matt. To make yourself feel a little bit better. I mean, Christian McCaffrey had to travel out to Germany to find out about his feet. Jordan Mason's good, but they're just 2-2. That offense isn't what it's been.
Is that your upset one for the week?
I've got the Niners just because I don't believe Arizona's that good.
I shouldn't believe in Arizona, but I'll take them. I'll take them there. All right, Jordan Love comes back. Doesn't really help the Packers last week, but now they travel out to LA to take on Matt Stafford. This is a 3-point road favorite for the Packers. This actually is the closest public money, 53-47. 53% of public money is on the Packers minus the 3. Packers lost to the Vikings last week at home. Green Bay is now 17-10 against the spread under Matt LaFleur after a straight-up loss. Unfortunately, that is a lot with Aaron Rodgers. In the Jordan Love situation, following a loss, he's only 3-5 against the spread. Matt Stafford's NFC North revenge tour continues on. He's faced the Packers 21 times in his career, but he's only 9-12 against the spread. He has lost 4 consecutive games to the Packers, dating back to 2019. The Packers are 2-1 straight up and against the spread as dogs this year. With LaFleur being a 70% cover as an underdog, they would be favored here. You would actually think that would be okay. He only covers when he's a dog. No, Matt LaFleur in his career is 31-28 against the spread with the Packers as a favorite, but when he's on the road, only 8-13 in his career on the road as a road favorite. McVay is just with McVay and Matt Stafford, they are 8-2 against the spread after a straight up loss, but that is 8-1 at home. So again, following a loss, they are 8-2 against the spread, but at home, 6-3 and 8-1. So that would lean the Rams in this situation. I just think it's too much for them to overcome with all these injuries. I think the Packers are good and pissed off, too, after that. Now, they're going to be without Christian Watson. Yeah. I think there's going to be more runs for Aaron Jones. I love Aaron Jones anytime touchdown in this game. I love that. Slam that. I'm going to take Green Bay to get right here, win by 4 or more.
Not to mention, Matt, even without Christian Watson, I mean, the cast of characters that they have that just step up in Green Bay, and this is something that happened, kind of throughout Rodgers' tenure, but now into the Love territory as well with Doubs and Wicks. They have guys that just find a way to catch passes in big situations. I'm on the Packers as well here.
425 up in Seattle. It's a long trip for the Giants. Now, here's your interesting thing about this game. It is the Seattle Seahawks, a 6.5-point home favorite against New York. You not only have the trip, but you have Giants extended rest because they played Thursday night. Yep. You got short rest for Seattle. Favorites playing on short rest. I'm going to go slow because this is a long one, all right? So again, favorites playing on short rest against a team that are on extended rest are covering 77% of the time. So that tells you it doesn't matter. It don't give a damn about Seattle. Again, the stat tells you are winning 77% of the time, and they are covering 27, 6-1 straight up, 19-15 against the spread when they're favored of over 4 points. So that tells you it should just be fine coming here for Seattle. When the Giants are coming off a straight-up loss, Brian Daboll is 14-6 against the spread in his next game, including 11-5 when the underdog, 9-2 against the spread as a dog of 3 points or more. Geno Smith in his career, when favored by more than 3, this is 6.5, is 16-5 straight up in his career, including 11-5 straight up at home and 5-0 straight up on the road. Geno has closed as a 5-point favorite or more 6 times in his career. He is 6-0 in those games. Again, covering, not so much. Now, the winning, sure. Geno Smith is 11-16-2 against the spread in his favorite in his career. Daniel Jones. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's not great.
Now, Daniel Jones, 2 covers in a row, though. But he has performed his best in prime. This isn't a night game, though. Why did they list a prime time? It's a 4:25 game or whatever.
America's game of the day.
So they're talking about it being more than after a 1 o'clock. So 1 o'clock games, Daniel Jones is 19, 18, and 1 straight up. After the 1 o'clock window, he is just 5 and 22, 12 and 15 against the spread. So he doesn't play 4 o'clock better. Right. He's like an old guy. He wants to get there early and get it done. Malik Neighbors is a beast in this game. We'll see. I'm sorry, did you take Green Bay in that last game?
I did, yeah. Calling Daniel Jones an old guy because he likes.
He only likes to play at 1 o'clock. He only likes to play at 1 o'clock. That's what that tells you right there.
Oh, that's
Seahawks
so
minus 6.5.
I'm on it.
I like Seattle too. I like Seattle. I think they have too much offense.
Yeah, Giants are
too
no
much
good.
offense. All right, final one for us before we get to the Browns later. We have Sunday Night Football. It is the Cowboys taking on the Steelers. It is the Steelers, a 2.5-point favorite in this one. 78% of public money is on Dallas to axe this one on out. Let's see what we got. Steelers and Cowboys haven't played each other since 2024. Or I'm sorry, since 2020. Cowboys have covered 3 straight games against the Steelers, but again, they haven't played in 4 years. Dating back to last season's, the Cowboys have not been covering. They're only 2-7 against the spread their last 9 games. That is the worst mark for any NFL team in that span. Justin Fields has made 8 career night starts in the NFL. He was only 3-5 straight up and 4-4 against the spread. In his first 5 games, though, he was 0-5 and 1-4 against the spread since he has covered and won all 3 of his night games that he's played. Dak Prescott has struggled as an underdog. He is just 16-18 in his career, but he's only 1-8 against the spread his last 9 starts as an underdog. And in fact, going back to 2020, Dak is only 3-10 against the spread as a dog. There's only 3 quarterbacks worse than him doing that. Bryce Young, Gardner Minshew, Mac Jones, and Justin Fields. Sorry, it was 4. Dak Prescott owns his own division, but against any other division, he is only 37, 45, and 2 against the spread. You talk about Pittsburgh. They lose a 1-score game against the Colts, and that continues a good streak. They are 2-1 straight up this season in 1-score games. Last year, they were 9-2 straight up in 1-score games. Since the departure of Ben Roethlisberger, the Steelers are 23-15-1 against the spread since the end of the 2021 season. They are the 3rd most profitable team in that stretch. 2.5 for the Steelers at home against the Cowboys.
This is a tough game to pick.
My gut said Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Because I felt like TJ Watt, think maybe they have a little more on offense. They only have CeeDee Lamb for Dallas. And they have no defense right now to speak of. But I don't think the Cowboys are losing this game. I don't think there's a way. Give me Dallas. Give me Dallas.
I'll bet Pittsburgh and be happy if they lose.
Sure.
I'll bet Pittsburgh and be happy.
Hedging your emotional bet. Hedging your emotional bet.
Yeah, that's what I have to do.
Little
I
bit.
can't believe that they've had to start this season. I thought we were finally going to be able to have to get our licks in a little bit. We haven't been able to do it really much after that playoff win. I mean, they've been right back there in the thick of it.
Mm-hmm. There it is. All right, so there's our picks. We'll do the Browns and the Commanders at the end of the day. We'll also get into college football with Ohio State and Iowa, and we're betting guards. You know we're going to bet guards. Let's do this. Let's catch our break. We come back, run through a quick morning update, just the latest stories. We're going to get back into baseball. We'll dip our toe in a little bit of timeout, and we'll get your bets for the Browns, Commanders, Ohio State. We got it all for you. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. All right, back here, Fontana Show. What a weekend we got cooking up. We got Guards, we got Tigers, Ohio State, Browns on Sunday. Welcome back, Matt Fontana, Nick Padone with you this morning. You can always follow the show on Twitter, X, at Matt Fontana Show. We're up on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. Follow Big Play, the Big Play Horse, bigplay.com. And don't forget, tomorrow, 11 o'clock, Lakewood Truck Park, Jensen Lewis. Padone's going to be there, hanging out with our pregame show, getting ready to go for the Guards tomorrow. So we'll see you at Lakewood Truck Park starting at 11 tomorrow. But we got plenty to get to, Nick, to wrap this up on a Friday. Morning update, stories you got to know. Take it away.
Love it. Matt, is this we're gonna find out here in real time.
Yeah.
If this is the morning update music.
Let's see.
Ready?
I can't hear it.
It's currently nothing. It's nothing.
It's nothing.
It's all nothing.
It's all nothing. That's okay.
I think.
And we're in Studio B, so we don't have quite
We are.
everything lined up down
Oh,
there.
hold on.
Wait.
Hold on. Might have just been the wrong button.
That's
'cause
all
we've
right.
got
All right,
a
here we go.
morning update
Here
for
we
you,
go.
Matt. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the show, but the Cincinnati Reds did just make it official. Terry Francona is their new manager, stepping out of retirement. Matt, it's a 3-year deal for Tito to go down there and manage the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, I think it's, again, Tito's always going to try to get back into baseball. I think that's, there would always be a team willing to take his services 100%. He's a Hall of Fame manager. Once he got the health things figured out, great. And I have no resentment towards him for moving on. This is what he clearly wanted to do. And I also look at it and I say, like, we're in a good spot. So it'd be different if we were some lowly team or he took all these guys away from us, or we were sitting here, dude, we're getting ready for a playoff series. I got other things to worry about. So I wish Terry the best, not against us in the Ohio Cup, but all the best to Terry. I hope he enjoys it down there. I hope it goes well, but we're on to bigger and better things. And it's also, you have now set your future up for the Guardians. You are in a place right now where you feel good about where Stephen Vogt is taking about this team. You feel good about the players that are here. So this is one of those things I think it worked out for everybody. It worked out for Tito to move on. It worked out for the Guardians and who they hired. Great. We're off to it, and I wish him the best down there in Cincinnati. I got no ill will towards Terry Francona.
Matt, and you said it earlier in the show that whatever happens down there with Cincinnati doesn't change the fact of what he accomplished here in Cleveland. I thought about this morning as well. Taking on this new chapter with the Cincinnati Reds and now seeing that it's just a 3-year deal. I mean, they're kind of in the midst of a rebuild anyways.
100%.
Whatever happens during his tenure with the Cincinnati Reds likely isn't that much of a reflection on Tito Francona's managerial
He can
career
only
in
do so
total.
much. He's not,
Unless it's like Tony La Russa caliber bad, which I don't think it will be because the Reds are a little bit better. Tito's going to do all right for himself down there. All right, we'll stick around in the world of baseball. Last night was a lot of fun if you were pulling and betting on the New York Mets like I was. Mets won 4-2 off the bat of Pete Alonso. Matt, he hadn't done a whole lot at all throughout the postseason, throughout this regular season, but when the Mets needed him most, he delivered.
Three-run
and
jack,
their thrilling postseason continues. Do the Mets have any chance against the Philadelphia Phillies in the NLDS?
I don't think so. Philly's my World Series pick. But you think about that start from Quintana and like that, they were just pitching lights out, and then Bowers and Frelick go back to back, and you're like, holy cow! I'm like, is that former Cleveland Indian Jake Bowers? And by God, it was. That was a great game to watch. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, I think the Mets are a hot team and they're feeling good. But again, I just think about their week. Monday, do or die, get on a plane, fly. Now, it wasn't necessarily like Atlanta going all the way to San Diego, but they go up, they get an emotional big win over Milwaukee that took 3 games. They have a day off today. I get it, but bro, then you're facing, and again, I think a lot of people's odds-on favorite now. I guess the Dodgers still there. People love the Yankees. For me, it is the Phillies. Phillies are 100% my pick. But like, that's not easy, man. That's going to be a hard road to go. And I just wonder if the gas runs out. That's where I look at a lot of these teams that had to play this week. Kansas City, obviously the San Diego, Tigers, so we'll see, and the Mets. How do the teams that had the time off help? And then the fact that all those teams have home field advantage to start out, that stuff factors in for me. So, again, I have a horse in that race. I want Philly to win. I think they're going to. I just wonder how much the Mets have left.
Last one for you, Matt. We go over to the world of media and social media. It's a world that you and I both live in.
Dicey world from time to time, but yes.
YouTube announces that YouTube Shorts can now be up to 3 minutes in length. Folks online now calling them YouTube Pants.
So,
get it?
Yeah, I get the pants versus shorts thing. But like, so they did shorts to rip off TikTok, right? Am I not missing that?
Correct.
So if it's a 3-minute video on YouTube, isn't it just a video on YouTube then?
It'll now be considered a YouTube Short.
I don't understand. You know what? Take our show. We're just going to slice it up into 3-minute. You're going to get like 100 3-minute things, and we'll just play that every week. How about that?
All to compete with TikTok, because TikTok boosted theirs up to the, now TikTok, you could, I think, have like 5 to 7 minute TikToks,
Really?
and they're all vertical, and you could scroll through them. It's all a land grab to compete with TikTok. That's why we've seen YouTube Shorts going to increase up to 3 minutes, I believe, beginning October 13th, so a little less than 10 minutes.
I know nothing. I do not have TikTok. I that's just the one that I've got all the other social medias. TikTok is not it there for me. I don't get it. I mean, again, I understand it, and I have buddies that send me TikToks and things, but I'm not.
So you don't know about the Costco guys?
No. What's that? What are those guys?
Oh, for a different show.
Well, now you can't.
It's not bad. So it's a dad and his kid. It's honestly like wholesome, and people thought it was weird at first. They
just go shop
They're
at
the
Costco?
Costco guys. No, they go to the food court.
Oh.
And they reviewed all their food. So
There's
you would
only
think,
like 6 items in there.
And you would think, so that's not a thing, that's not a bit that lasts long. But they've unlocked new characters into their universe. And as it turns out, I think it's like this big Italian family. So now there's like this little, no offense to him, there's like this little fat kid in the mix now called the Rizzler. You've had to have seen this because they've made their way over to Twitter and everything. Like, so it's a huge thing. They've dropped a song now. They're everywhere.
So like that, do you follow Nikki Cass on Instagram? Do you know Nikki Cass?
Yeah.
That's what he did. He created this family, the pizza shop guy and the umpire and the dad sitting there and go, Diane, I love Nikki Cass. I think he's hilarious. This sounds like kind of a ripoff of that. Like you create.
Yeah, but once you watch it, you're gonna realize that it's weird because they try to be like, I think the dad has like a little bit like he wants to be in the WWE kind of. So when they rate the food, they give it either a boom or a doom, and they scream boom or doom in the
middle of Costco while they're there.
Middle of Costco.
So like I see
now they're doing it like they're taking it on the road. Well, they'll get the double chocolate chunk cookies.
What is that Costco different than that Costco?
They'll take the cookie somewhere. Like they were just at FAU. Right. Like they ran FAU out onto the field. This dad and his kid, and they did ate the cookie and did the boom right there at the 50-yard line. So
I listen,
the Costco guys are everywhere.
I understand.
It's my whole feed.
I understand that this is like, and again, we're on social media. We're a digital company, so like we're on social media, and I get it. Here's just me being an old guy for a second. Does this stuff actually last? And I'm sure if these people are just cashing millions of dollars and things like that, what are you going to complain about?
Right.
But like, I think about, and again, I knocking the Hawk to a chick. Good for her, whatever. But like, in 5 years, are you going to be able to keep doing this? Is this really something that's sustainable? Like, all the money that just flows in for some of these things, like, there's an interesting post I saw a little while ago. And it was, what do you think we're in the golden age of right now? People rarely know, like, we're in the middle of this golden age. And a lot of people brought up beer. And I was like, that's pretty close. Garage beer, golden age, here we are. But they also brought up podcasts and content, where right now there's a bajillion podcasts and there's so much content that people put out. There's streaming platforms out the wazoo. People are on Twitch. They're streaming on YouTube, gamers, all that. And I always ask the question, not to be a hater. I'm not hating. But it's like, is that truly sustainable?
I really think Hawk Tua could grow into being the litmus on all of this because she went viral for something stupid. She got now a media deal, so she's got her own podcast. And that's the litmus test. If she could turn that into a media career, even if it is just a digital YouTube thing that's sustainable but profitable, then it's maybe proven that it could be done. But I think, Matt, like you said, the Talk Tua podcast can't just be around for 3 months and then absolve. That's not sustained. But if it goes on for 5 years, I'd probably call it a success.
Well, then the other thing too is like there are socialites. We all know why the Kardashians got popular. Don't ever tell me that mom didn't leak that video. 1,000%. And now they're worth billions of dollars, right? So, like, I get that there's always been people that have been considered social. So let's take the Haley Welch, the Hawk Tuah chick. So does she become an actress now? I'm not talking about that kind of actress. I'm talking about like legit, like, man, does she go on Dancing with the Stars?
I don't think so.
Like,
I think she just becomes like a YouTuber. Because I saw yesterday she signed a deal with Kick, which is a Twitch competitor.
Yeah.
So she's just going to be like a streamer.
So like that's my okay. So and I understand that and it's why I love having you because I love talking to you about this kind of stuff. You're more hooked up on this than me. So like I sit down here. Okay, let me tell you my day. Right, I listen to the radio because I'm old like that. I do our show. I will listen to the radio again on my way home. If I'm consuming content when I get home, it's usually gaming streamers. And they're playing either COD or I'm just such a nerd. I watch Pokemon speed runs on Twitch. Okay, you wonder how I found a wife, but I did. So it's like that's what I'm saying. Like, I guess it only takes like a group of people say like I am sitting down today and I have to watch. But it's like the content that I watch is a video game that I like.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like, do I really want to sit down and hear what she has to say or like?
So Matt, that's what brings our conversation here today full circle. That's why YouTube is making the change that they are to put a more emphasis on shorts and how TikTok is the way that it is. Because unlike you, similar to you, I listen to the radio on the way here. I'll probably listen to it on the way home. But then that content that you searched for, the gaming streams, the Pokemon speedruns,
it's all right here.
You sought that out.
Yes, you're right.
Whereas
That's a good point.
I will pull up TikTok and Hawk Tuah.
It's right. It's
the Costco guys,
yeah.
They're unavoidable.
Yeah.
I can't get rid of them.
So
I'm not searching out Hawk Tuah and what her opinion is on the latest pop culture trends of today.
That's the other thing.
But it
what
finds
would you
its
go
way
to like find out?
Finds its way to find me, and that's the scary part. Is that these algorithms now, whether I care about Hawk Tuah or I don't, and spoiler alert, I don't.
Yeah.
I know she's going to find a way to find me because she's so heavily involved in these platforms that I frequent.
So the thing is, so like I guess it's no different. Here I'm just.
It's a doom scroll, like Psychology 101.
I get lost in the Instagram
It's
scroll.
not good.
And you're
It's
just
not
going
good
through.
for you.
But like, okay, I'm just gonna keep saying Nicky Cass because he's my closest example. And I ain't knocking him because I think he's hilarious. But I find his content funny. Like I guess that's what is the draw. You're right. Am I gonna watch? And I keep bringing her up. I feel bad to keep making her lightning rod. Are you gonna watch her?
She's the litmus.
And go, hey, I'm really interested in what she has to think about the vice presidential debate the other night. Like, I'm really interested to hear what she thinks about Terry Francona going here. Or is she going to do like what Nicky Cass does, where he's got all these characters and I find it funny. And I get how they make money because Nicky, you're a big fan of his. When he gets on there and he goes, let me tell you about Manscaped. You're like, dude, I want to support Nick. You want to know how I get this? One of my favorite streamers is based out of Columbus. When he is promoting something, I want to support his brand. I give him my Twitch Prime sub every month so he can get his money to keep streaming. I'm a part of that community. And we try to build our community here. That's the I think any
And I
good
think we see it.
creator,
You know, I think people tweet us garage beer and like
Right,
that's cool. That's part of
that-
supporting the community.
any content creator, you are as good as your community is. How loyal they are, how much they watch, all that other kind of stuff. So again, it's not like I don't understand that people watch the content. It's just what is the content that you're creating? You know what I mean? And I will say, everything runs its course. The most popular radio shows of all time, the most popular anything, everything runs its course. I only think there are I really do think there's a short few list of people and things that have never run its course. Probably top of that list is Howard Stern. That has never not run its course. He is still immensely popular. Yep. He still gets the biggest interviews. Yeah, it's different than when I was a kid listening on terrestrial radio and he had a bunch of porn stars in the studio doing a bunch of stuff. That's different now. Howard Stern, I don't think, has ever run its course. But, you know, I'm trying to think of like other content. Like SNL's run its course.
Yeah.
You know, late night TV has run its course. Radio show and anything. It's just there's all this turnover that you're just trying to catch. And I just think about that new wave of all these young content creators. And, you know, some of these guys and girls that you watch, they're in the same situation, right? They're 23 years old. They're making millions of dollars. Yeah. And the ultimate question, old guy in my head, I go, you gonna be doing this in 20 years? And you probably could, you probably can, but I don't know. Like, I just come from like a working class family. I know they're going to need plumbers and carpenters in 20 years. They're going to need electricians. Do they need some guy throwing a towel up, making pizza, fake pizza, and telling people funny things? I don't know. It's kind of interesting and scary to see where we're going. And all these viral TikTokers and things like that, especially when it's a world that I know nothing about and watch none of it.
I guess I will say, if you ever find yourself in a situation of going like a Hawk Tua situation, again, not to keep bringing her up, but she's the litmus on all of this, like, get a good financial advisor. Because I bet you she's currently set for life.
Probably.
Just be smart about it.
Yeah.
You're set for life. And at that point, it doesn't matter. Well, you could do your Talk to a podcast for free for the rest of your life.
Well, and that's like what I've heard too is like she's really philanthropic. She gave a bunch of money to like animal shelters. And I think that all helps your brand too, of people understanding like I'm not just out for the money. That helps people gravitate towards it. I guess people have become famous for a lot less.
Yeah,
you know,
now too, like it helps because she seems to have like a team behind her, and like the podcast has a network behind it, so it's not like she's out there kind of just floundering and doing this all on her own.
Right.
But like the Costco guys will be interesting too. Like, is that gonna last?
I meant to say that I get a lot of these things of these Costco shoppers. And they go into the store and they're like, ooh, this is on sale this week. Or, ooh, now that is content as a dad and as a family. I'm like, my wife will literally go to the DMs to my wife and I. They're all like child medical things or Costco. Like, oh, hey, we got to go get that this week. Like, this is kind of where we're at. So it's that, again, even that kind of content. I understand. The final thing I'm going to say, because you got off on a fun tangent. I've had a lot of fun with this conversation. Bro, is it not saturated? For every, like, and I'll tell you, I think because, again, it's they give you what you search for. That algorithm gives you what you want, right? So a lot of it is when my wife sends me like, hey, it's, gentle parenting or like how we're handling our son dealing with his sleep issues and all that. Then I just get boom, 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 boom. And it's all the same. And it's like 15 different accounts. You know the other bull crap that I get a lot of, Nick? The couples comedy. The fake couples comedy about...
people trying to be Josh and Maria.
Usually these hot chicks with their cleavage hanging out and things like that. And then the guy, and then they fart and they laugh. Whatever. This couple's comedy is the one thing out. You know the other guy too? And again, it's targeted. I get it all the time. Yeah. That guy to Boston with the bad he has his wife do the bad Boston accent. It's like, I'm sure they're making money hand over fist right now. You going to do that in 5 years?
What's crazy about it is it scares me that the answer could be yes.
Yeah.
Because the people are only getting dumber, I think.
I know. Like
my generation isn't helping any of this. No, I'll tell you that. Like
the perfect way to describe, we are the scrolling generation. We literally just sit here all day and just bing, scroll. And the thing is,
it's so not good.
It is never ending.
Nope.
The content is never ending. And it's also like, I don't want to say diluted a little bit, but it's like there is so much of it that it's just hard. And we do sports and all that, but there's 1,000 things out there right now. It's all different. But I just think we do something a little special right here. One thing you can't get anywhere else is Time Hop. We're going to do a quick one of that today before we get to Ohio State, before we get to the Browns, and a little bit of guards. Let's roll to a little bit of Time Hop, though. All right. Here we go. We'll head on back 4 years ago today. Nick, do you remember the Browns-Cowboys game 2020? Jarvis throws the touchdown to Odell Beckham. The shootout, 49-38. This day, 2020, Browns-Cowboys. This is weird, but this kind of.
I'm gonna have to put this out from Big Play Maine.
Was that not one of the most fun games that we've had recently, where it was just this slobber knocker, this back and forth? We improved to 3-1. Here's the crazy thing: Baker only threw for 165 yards in that game, 37 yards from Jarvis to Odell. And was that not Odell's 100th touchdown?
Yeah. And that game was so fun because for a moment and for really the week that followed, you felt like you really won the Odell Beckham Jr. trade. It was like, we have a superstar wide receiver right here in Cleveland. We have something that we haven't had since the days of Josh Gordon. And that's why it felt so good to beat a premier team.
He had the reverse for the touchdown. That's right. 50-yard on the reverse. Odell.
OBJ won that game.
He
for the
did.
Browns.
That's right. I remember that now. 5 catches, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Then he had 2 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt had 2 touchdowns. Then the other side of it, 12 catches, $134 and a touchdown for Amari Cooper.
Wow.
Dak Prescott threw for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns and lost that game. Lost that game. I remember that, man. That's right. I remember that game. That was a fun-ass game.
I remember just feeling so good just because I thought Odell, like, we had him. It was back. He figured it out. It was unlocked.
We got to 3-1, and you made the playoffs that year. So that's where you're at.
Yeah.
This day, 2018, Tom Brady threw his 500th touchdown to who?
A guy that threw the ball in the stands, and he did it again last night.
No.
It wasn't Mike Evans?
No.
What?
It was Josh Gordon.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Remember Josh Gordon?
Right.
I think Evans threw the record-breaking one.
He did.
That's what
and
it
Evans
was.
threw his own ball into the stands
because that was again his whatever touchdown, which is
100th. It was Evans' 100th. Yeah.
It took him that long to get 100. Really?
Yeah.
Dude, he was a year before Odell, and we just had Odell. Man, I forget about how good Odell was. Tom Brady throws his 500th pass. I'll never forget that to Josh Gordon this day, 2018.
Yeah, I remember that too. That was a Twitter freak out where everyone was like, "Oh, we gave him Josh Gordon." That never really amounted to be anything.
2015, young Nick Padone, Browns, Chargers. Browns drive on down the field. We tie the game with 2 minutes to go. We then give it back to, at the time, San Diego Chargers.
Yeah.
They drive back down the field to get in line for what would be a game-winning field goal. The kicker that day for the San Diego Chargers was Josh Lambo.
Yeah.
He lines up for the kick, and he misses it. Overtime. But wait. The Browns were offsides. He gets to kick it again, and we lose 30-27.
Matt, we started off this week not overreacting about the Browns and where they're at 1-3 because we didn't want to go back to those days. That game on Time Hop today, I don't want to go back to that place anymore, man.
Tremont Williams offside trying to come off the edge. You remember Tremont Williams? You remember him? Here's some names of the past. Josh McCown, 356 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers for San Diego, 358 and 3 touchdowns.
It was a shootout.
Isaiah Crowell was our leading rusher.
Crow.
Danny Woodhead was the leading rusher for the Chargers.
Danny Woodhead was good.
He was. Duke Johnson, Travis Benjamin, and Gary Barnage all had 70 yards. Dontrell Inman, Keenan Allen, and Danny Woodhead led San Diego. Our leading tackler was Dante Whitner, Johnson Batamosi, Carlos Dansby, all in that game as well. So we followed this day, 2015. This day, 1991, Jim Thome hits his first ever career home run in Upper Decker there at Yankee Stadium. This day, 1970, you know about the 27 Club? Not just MGK's Coffee Club.
Oh, yeah.
The 27
the meaning behind it.
Janis Joplin passed away this day, 1970. So it was her, Hendrix, Morrison, Cobain, and I think Amy Winehouse, right?
Yeah.
They were all 27 years old, and they all had a white Bic lighter in their front pocket. Ooh. See how that goes. This day, 1959, Jim Brown sets the Browns' individual game record with 37 rushing attempts.
Wait, is that why they say white lighters are bad luck?
I think, yes.
That has to be.
That's it. No, the 27 Club. I want to make sure that, and I think it's like, I don't know if Winehouse fits that.
Lighters, bad luck.
So here it is. The beginning of the deaths of 27 popular musicians between 1969 and 70. Oh, first up, Brian Jones, Rolling Stones. Then Hendrix, then Joplin, then Jim Morrison. They all died at 27. And again, a lot of them alcohol, drug-related type things like that. Yeah, did you Google the white Bic lighter thing? Is that a thing?
And it's related to the 27 Club. That's why
right.
people say white lighters are bad luck. Quick story, not to completely derail this.
Hey, man,
when I graduated high school, we were doing the whole cigar thing, and
we all were there.
And nobody had a lighter, so I ran up to the gas station and I bought a white lighter, and I brought it back, and everybody was like, "No!" And I was like, I didn't know. I wonder
why Bic should probably just knock it out. I got a Zippo because I just thought Zippos were so cool. And the girl I was dating in high school, her dad was like, "Why do you have a Zippo?" And he's like, "Do you smoke?" And I was like, "No." I'm just like, she goes, "Why do you have a Zippo?" And I was like, "I don't know." Like, you remember when you're 18 and you just think
because
it's
you
so
could.
cool to actually buy the stuff that you want. Yeah, I can buy a lighter. I can buy Black and Milds now. Like,
I
this is
did.
cool.
I did
Everybody
all of it.
Did.
Yeah.
Everybody did. We were all there. It was times of the past. I wait for that day when my son comes home and I'm just like, damn it. And it's like, you're going to be so hard because you're like, I love my parents so much and I appreciate them so much because it's like, I can't tell you how many times I know that like my dad looked at me and he's just like, I was in the same exact spot. Like, you know what I mean? And now I think about my kids when they come home and I'm going to be yelling at them and I'm just be like, I was in your same spot, man. I know I was. I have to yell at you because that's what I'm supposed to do. Just keep this train on the track. That's all I ask. Can we move forward there? This day, 1948, the Indians beat the Yankees 8-3 in a one-game playoff to win the AL pennant. Lou Boudreau, 4 for 4, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs, and 3 runs scored. This day, 1948. Very happy birthday goes out to Tony La Russa, former Browns wide receiver, Chancey Stuckey. There's a name of the past. Drew Stubbs, who I loved when he came here from Cincinnati. Yep. Lonnie Chisenhall, who I once famously said was going to be an all-star. Didn't quite happen that way. Jabril Peppers, Derrick Rose, Rutherford B. Hayes, Susan Sarandon, Alicia Silverstone, Russell Simmons, and the great Christoph Waltz. Got to think of Glorious Bastards when you think of him, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be. It's so good. Today's National Taco Day. Hard shell, soft shell. Oh, it's not even that hard, Nick.
Soft shell.
You're damn right. It's soft shell.
Gotta be corn tortilla though.
Corn tortilla.
Authentic, Matt. Come on.
Nah, I like flour.
Authentic
I like
West
flour.
Coast.
I like flour.
Come
I'm
on.
a bougie American. Soft shell is the only way to go. All right, 3 media things for you to guess on. A movie, this day 2019. The hint is its sequel is out, and people hate the sequel.
Oh, that's not that great of it. Give me a genre.
Comic booky, kind of.
Oh.
It's an offshoot of a comic book. It's an offshoot of a comic book character. It's a fresh take on it. People really liked the 2019 original. The remake just came out. The sequel just hit theaters yesterday. People hate it.
I'm going to look up Cinemark showings near me. I don't know. I've got nothing.
Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah.
The Joker. Now, the 2019 Joker, I loved it. I thought it was really good, a fresh take. It was a little out there, kind of great.
I've seen the slander about this one.
This one apparently sucks.
I've seen it.
Apparently, they tried to go someplace that people didn't want to go. I get it, right? Todd Phillips is like, dude, I made this movie, the highest grossing rated R movie ever, and like that. And then he tried to follow up. When you try to follow up the crazy, it never works. And it sounds like
Pitchforks are completely out there.
Yeah, but again, it's like, it doesn't really impact the rest of DC. It kind of is what it is. We go back to this day, 1990. I don't know if you're going to get this. This was one of the most popular television shows of the 90s. This was an American drama series set in a very popular California town. Ran for 10 seasons on Fox. Introduced us to a lot of young actors and actresses of that era. The show chronicled the characters' friendships, romantic relationships, including addressing societal topics across the series there. A very popular California town.
California town.
California town. It's right in the name.
Oh, it's in the name.
Yeah.
So it's not the one that I had in mind.
No. Okay, it has a zip code in it.
I'm lost.
Beverly Hills 90210.
Okay.
Not really. I never really liked that show. It is what it is.
Yeah,
all right, final one. An old show from 1957. It debuted this day. It has to do with the a family. I want to make sure I get the name of the family right. We're running out of time to get everything else done here. This follows. I want to just shoot it and say the Cleaver family. It is. It's the Cleaver family. So that would be nothing. Leave it to Beaver.
Okay.
The Beeve.
Nothing.
The Beeve was the young one. The Beeve. The Beaver.
Nothing.
There it is. All right, well, you better have something this weekend, Nick, because we got to go. Bets aplenty. Let's go. Start with the guards. I'm taking them to win, minus a run and a half. What do I got in the odds on that? I don't even want to go into. I I didn't want to go into trends. I'm taking the Guardians. I'm not going to not put money on the Guardians.
Same. Taking the Guards. And Matt, I'll tell you, for game 1, I think I'm going to take Bybee over on strikeouts.
I like that.
I think that, the Tigers have played a lot of baseball. They're going to be excited to be in the ALDS. And then Bybee's last 2 outings against Detroit. That's what we don't have enough time to get into it here with the trends and all that. But go Google Bybee's last 2 outings against the Tigers. He's pitched really well. So I like the Guards, and I like
5.5, by the way. This is over under 5.5.
He could get 6.
I'm going to take them minus a 1.5. That's exactly where I'm going to go with that. Ohio State only 18.5 point favorites over Iowa. But the Buckeyes are just giving up 63 rushing yards per game. Iowa tries to run the football. They're not going to be able to. Buckeyes cover, I think.
Give it
easily.
to me again, Matt.
Yeah,
two covers. I'll take Guards minus 1.5 with you, and I'll go Buckeyes minus 16.5 as well.
All right, the Browns road 3-point dogs as they're in Washington. Here we go. Jaden Daniels, 82% completion percentage through 4 starts. Not only for the best rookie ever, but any quarterback in a period of time that has done that. It broke the record of Tom Brady in 2007 when they went 16-0. This season, the Commanders are scoring on drives of 67% of their drives. They are scoring that is above the league average of 35. Almost double the drives that they score on. They're going to be there. Coming back to this one, Cardinals were the biggest wins in terms of spread for the Commanders in franchise in the last 20 years. They won the game by 28 as being 3.5 point dogs. That 31.5 point against the spread margin is their largest since 2015 and their largest on the road since 2001. Don't have too many with Jaden Daniels because he's so young. Issue with the Browns, obviously going out to this, we're back on the East Coast time, which is probably pretty good.
Yeah.
The Browns coming off a West Coast trip, though, since 2017 are just 3-7-1 against the spread when they play in a West Coast road trip and then coming back to the East Coast, including just 1-6. In his career, Deshaun Watson is 20-14 against the spread as an underdog. Rest of the division there as it goes, Stefanski 26-22-1 against the spread against non-AFC North opponents. It's 3. I've got no freaking choice, Nick Padone. Browns +3. For the love of God, get this win.
Yes, sir.
I got nothing else for it.
Yes, sir. I'm going Browns money line, Matt. It's a must win.
Must
it's a
win.
can't lose.
Got
Jaden
it.
Daniels at the end of the day is a rookie quarterback. Come on, Jim Schwartz. Let's lock in. Let's get this victory. Matt, I don't want to have another week like last week where we're so upset on Monday. I want to have a fun show as the Browns go out there to DC. Let's get it done.
Let's get it done. Have a hell of a weekend. 11 a.m. tomorrow, Lakewood Truck Park, Padone, Jensen
excited.
Lewis. I might stop by with the kid. I might run up there with the kid real quick to see you guys. So we'll see you there tomorrow, Lakewood Truck Park, 11 a.m. Ohio State tomorrow. We got that. And the Browns on Sunday. Do not forget, a brand new Big Play tailgate show coming your way Sunday with Booms, Zarella, and Golick. So you can catch that. Just go follow us on Big Play or download that brand spanking new Big Play app, which we all love very much. Padone, appreciate you coming in, man. Get it done. Have a hell of a weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. For Nick Padone, I'm Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.